In this show, we bring you a message titled, Didn't See It Coming, Overcoming the 7 Greatest Challenges That No One Expects and Everyone Experiences. So it comes from a book by the same title, authored by my guest, Carey Nieuwhof. He's a speaker, podcaster, and pastor of one of the largest and most influential churches in Canada. So right off, you're wondering, okay, what are those 7 challenges? Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to read them off. Cynicism, compromise, disconnection, irrelevance, pride and narcissism, emptiness, burnout. And of course, I got Carey's personal story that brought him to this message and what he does today. But we got into those challenges. It was really interesting because I look at those and I think, not me. But as we really talked about them, I thought, gosh, I see some that I'm going to edge towards if I'm not aware, which we also get into. He has 11 warning signs that we're falling towards or into these issues. I was just really intrigued by the message and our discussion. I mean, nobody sets out to become any of those, of course. They just happen over time, like gaining weight. And Carey just does a masterful job of opening our eyes with a breakdown of needed self-awareness. He does a burnout quiz and just gives guidance on an overall personality audit, in essence, to clarify where we are and where we need to shore ourselves up to guard ourselves against those things. It's just a significant discussion. Before we get started, you can connect with Carey at didn'tseeitcomingbook.com. And of course, you can get the book wherever you get your books normally. He's also got a podcast, real popular podcast called the Carey Nieuwhof Leadership Podcast. Lead like never before. And his name is spelled Carey. And the last name, too, will take you a little, it's Nieuwhof. But you can find that wherever you look for your podcast or wherever you get your podcast. So I'm going to get started with this conversation with Carey right after I share some great resources with you. Okay, friends, here then I bring you Carey Nieuwhof and just this profound message that I think we all will do well to hear. Well, Carey, it is an absolute honor to have you on the show. I always have great guests, but I often have some where there's just been a slew of people saying, if you had this guy on, you've got to get this guy on. And so finally, I just couldn't deny having you here. So thanks for being with us.
Well, it's a privilege. You've got quite a legacy here, and it's an honor to be with you, Kevin. Thank you.
Well, I want to dig into your message. I want to dig into your book, but I do want to know a little bit about the backstory here, being about personal development. Just like Zig did, he started so many, if not all, of his presentations telling a little bit about himself, being the youngest of all these kids, and Dad died. What brought you? What's the backstory on you? Just your own upbringing that got you to the trajectory of a lawyer and a pastor and an author and where you are now. Take us back a little bit.
Yeah, so, it's interesting when you're a little kid. I remember wanting to be my mom kept a little scrapbook of us when we were younger. There's my kindergarten report card and some pictures I did. And I think in kindergarten, first grade, I wanted to be a baseball player or an astronaut like all the little kids did. And of course, I had no actual skills for baseball or anything, but that doesn't stop you. And I don't know what it was, but when I was 8 years old, I remember coming home one day and saying to my mom and dad, I think I was at Scouts or Cubs or whatever it was, I want to be a lawyer. And I don't know where that came from. I think it was God. I have no idea. But I wanted to be a lawyer and kind of pursued that dream, but took a really circuitous route there.